Hello, hi.
Hello. Hi, boys and girls.
Hello.
Welcome to this episode of the JustSaying podcast. With me today is Tavi, the man with the passport.
Yes.
And,
Hello.
and Ashley Honda. And we're just three grown men. Just saying.
Kungosasa.
Kungosasa, guys.
We
It's
are
like
not
Ichema
pastors, we are not counselors, we
Yeah.
are not
Nothing.
any professionals except qualified husbands.
Yes.
We have the licenses to prove it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, today's topic.
I love that, man. I love that part, man.
So, today's topic is about living in before you get married. As a couple. Like, what's your take? Tavi, tell us.
Okay.
Right. I remember in 2008, 2007, 2008, I went to a rural area to see my granny. And we're just having it. It was during the Great Depression of Zim. So as a family, we just put some groceries together to go help out our relatives in the situation. And so I'm seated down with my grandpa, my dad's mom, and everybody was, because I was like, one of those senior bachelors guys who got married late. Everybody kept asking, so Tavi, when are you getting married? Tavi, when are you getting married? Tavi, when are you getting married? And then she whispers in my ear and says, you know what, Muzukuru, don't rush these things. If I were you, I'd find a chick to just live in with, get to know her for like maybe 3-4 years before you decide to marry.
Whoa, your
it was
grandma
kind of like
said
a
that?
shock. My grandma, imagine someone coming from that generation giving you this advice. So I then asked her why. She says, I think she got married at 16 or 17. It was one of those where you get pregnant and then boom, now you're married.
Yeah.
And she says she missed out a lot on life because she thought marriage was everything then. And she never got to really get to know somebody until it was now too late. You can't leave that person.
You're talking about your grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Named after me. I'm named
Ash,
after him.
what's your opinion?
What with the situation like this, there's two things to this. Every older person that I've spoken to now, that's my mom's age going back, says the same thing weirdly. And you need to know the person
Yep.
before you get to know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see their habits and see how they live and are you compatible and so forth. Let me tell you this. I'll just say this. Maybe my wife will take offense to this, but we'll deal with it in the bedroom later. But let's risk it. I lived in with my current wife before we got married, obviously.
Okay.
And ndakaichajwa pakurora. Yeah, damage futhi kangazi.
Yeah.
Ndakaichajwa futhi current living situation one. But what it did was we kind of, before the marriage, we kind of learned to know we can actually live together without killing each other.
Okay.
Because what happens is more often than not, people are dating where this person goes and lives. I think Ajigara let me just give you an example. Ajigara ku town. This dude's got a flat in town, a bed sitter.
Yeah.
He's got his habits.
Yeah.
This woman is soon to be wife. Arugara nema parents ake, anima habits ake. They get married. They're happy. They get married. Go church. No. They never live together.
Never touched hands.
Then Sekuru Bob ovwa donate imba igu F. Chigara miss. One gara miss. Right. That guy. I know that every 7 o'clock ndamuka na 7. Kandamuka na 7. I'm scratching my balls, going to the shanks, I'm gonna take a crap. Then after that, no one come a conflicts angu, no one die, no one die, whatever I'm doing. Don't my highlights. Is super sport. 200. Those routine yagi 7 o'clock. The girl is her routine. When I wake up at 7 o'clock on the dot, also I have to be in the shanks. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm cleaning. Already, my 20 mismatch. I'm just you my habits are
Yeah.
And maybe the guy is a neat guy and the chick is a slob. My way.
I didn't got my one.
I didn't get my
Yeah,
one. And you know what? My domestics are not. What happens is that small little things become big things.
Yeah.
Small little things become big things where this guy, every time he comes, like, what the fuck? I'm a clean number, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then because
and there's skid marks in the shanks.
He now then says, you know what? This woman, doctor na tete, mukadzi uyu agonu kuchengeta imba yangu chichichi, asi mukadzi chai yatole elevator. Nyaya yacho. Yekusangoziyana my habits. You wouldn't know, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And you only find that out by living with the person
someone
before you live with the person.
I think for me, my view has kind of changed. I think before I was of the opinion that, I should see Bo. And to some extent I agree, because imagine you live with boyfriend A, doesn't work out, move on to B, doesn't work out, you move on to C. Like
the living in the when you now got like a rotating system, no need someone.
You're running an ABM.
No. It just depends now. When you're now serious with you can't. Okay. When you move in with maybe please comment and tell us what this current situation is. Because we're old.
It'd be interesting to
maybe
hear what
this is nothing to talk about. Because you understand, because with people this day and age where the 0 to 6
gap
is weak.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Days and hours.
Like it took you 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't know. So that said, how then, maybe Costa, maybe you can take over here. With these young millennials, is it an issue still to live in and whatnot?
I guess it depends with your background. I think if you come from a Christian background, it's highly likely you won't, depending on the type of the level that you are in terms of your Christianity and whatnot. I think it's valuable to have that exposure, because generally people are selfish. Just our natural state.
Yeah,
you have to make, depending on how you were raised, you have to make an effort to be thoughtful. To remember, I need to consider.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again. Because you know what? That's a very key thing to say, yeah? People don't really think about
that's
it.
very, very key. I like that.
You have to make an effort to be thoughtful.
Yeah, you have to. And now the thing is, look at the divorce rate. As Christians, sometimes there's a point in time where there has to be an acknowledgement of failure.
Yeah.
Because we can't say there's such a high divorce rate. And we're still claiming to be pure and all of those other things. Yeah. I think living in is something that's important. Maybe we then need to start having guidelines to say, okay, if you're gonna do it, this is how you do it safely. Because it's like this whole debate where, just taking a bit of a tangent, where contraception, you find with generally sometimes Christians don't use contraception.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, we shouldn't be. But then human nature takes over.
Yeah.
And then there's so many risks. Besides having a child, imagine all those sexually transmitted diseases. You could even catch HIV, all of those other things, just because you're being holier than thou. I mean, pick a condom if you are going to do that,
Yeah.
Whether,
If you don't want a baby, come
Shandisa
on.
condom.
Yeah.
Shandisa condom.
And for me, like coming back to this living in thing, I feel like it's I would recommend it. I've been married for a bit now, and I think.
Did you live in?
No, we didn't. I was if Panga Pipe I'm a badge, I'm a brother.
You'd be number one.
I would have all the scout badges.
So she's got to
Wow.
I would have all of the badges.
No, but Costa, if you had lived in with somebody, imagine all those girls that you dated and didn't work out, and as soon as they don't work out, they're leaving, or you're leaving their flat,
this is why I said
and so forth. Doesn't that become messy?
No, this is why I'm saying, Guti, if we acknowledge that the current system is failing, we can come up with a workable solution.
Okay, I'm with you 1,000%. Now tell me something. Maybe I'm taking people back and I'm being naive or whatever. But how do you then, when do you decide that I'm going to live in with someone?
I feel like when you're talking to people, there are different types of friendships that you have. There are some people where Kuti, this one, I could see myself living with this person. And then there's someone who they do my jokes, And even when you're doing business deals, there's some people who okay, if I'm going to start a business, okay, I would have so and so as a partner. And there's someone who you might be very close to, and
I'm not good.
I'm never
doing business with this person.
No, I don't think. And I feel like it's the same thing where with your relationships, you're not okay.
So, okay, is it safe to assume then, Tavi and Costa, that when you say I'm on live-in with this person, you are okay.
Step one in terms of
Wait. Let me put it this way. When you start living in with a lady as a guy, are you announcing that this person is going to be your future bride?
It's not an announcement.
Or are you saying it's a speculation to say Urim top 10? What are you saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the same way.
If this guy is living with you, right? If this guy is living with you, if you're saying come let's live together, are you saying are you as a guy subconsciously or overtly saying, I'm going to marry you one day? Is that what women think is going to happen? Please also comment and whatnot in this intersection, because what happens is that some people may live together and then it doesn't work out, whatever the case may be. But I'm saying to the woman, doesn't she feel
let
like...
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Don't you try it out to see it okay?
God. Charles, no.
It's exactly the same thing.
Oh, shit.
If you're trying out a shoe, it's okay.
My Lord. Does it fit?
Yeah.
Does it fit?
But
is it comfortable in the rain?
Is it comfortable? You still want to buy it?
Sorry?
But you've bought the shoe, guys.
If you've ever bought anything from Avondale, your assumption should be someone tried it before. Unless even if you go to Adidas or any of these other shops, you're going to try a shoe.
Yeah, but the ones they on display.
You try a shoe.
Yeah,
the ones that they bring out for you.
Then the one they bring the fresh ones from the back, boss.
Yes. That's what they bring.
Do you know what?
That keeps getting tried on. It's not
you can live in with Mary, only for you to then realize, okay, no Mary. I need to go with your last.
That's dope. No, but you know what, guys? Generations have changed and evolved.
That's what I mean.
This new generation, it might in
might
my
not be an
time,
issue,
in
yeah.
our time, when we were dating, Ash,
This is why my small house, if there was if small houses were a stock on the stock market,
Yeah.
it would be a blue chip. It would be a blue chip counter. Because there's clearly a failure in the system.
But small house, I see Airbnb, Madare.
Ndozvandokutaura kuti madhara
Airbnb.
vakapotsa opportunity yekuti vaite live in.
Oh.
Vakapotsa opportunity.
So they're now living that life now.
Now, yeah. And the other thing is this. The fact that we don't acknowledge problems does not mean they do not exist.
Yeah.
Or, unogona kupinda muchicken in and by faith usina mari muchikwama uchiti no zvichaita chete.
But in
I mean, by some
for free.
Yeah,
Never.
by some coincidence it may, but it's highly likely that it's not. And I feel like until we acknowledge some of our failings, some of these things are going to just exist.
I'm with Costa there. I wouldn't call them failings. This is what I think. I think it's a culture clash. Yeguti, there's ways that we used to do things as Africans, right? But the world has evolved now, and some of those ways
Just
might not necessarily fit
just
in.
as a
Because
question. Trakire Kuno is for what?
And Trakire Kuno is for what?
Yeah. But you know, when people pay Lobola, that amount
Trakire Kuno. What's that for?
What does that mean?
Trakire Kuno.
I kind of feel like it implies Kuti, this chick is living in somewhere.
Yeah. Is it not
Or the other way?
No, that's not what it means.
You know to Trakire
All right.
Wakamona kupi kumbakwani.
Hear me.
I'm serious.
And both of you have daughters.
No, that's something else. All right. Hear me out. Hear me out. Let me finish what I was saying. Kuti, we've adopted certain Western cultures and did. So the world that we're living in fits in better with these Western cultures. That's what I think. So if we've adopted this new world order, we should then also take the other cultures. Like the whole culture you're living in the West, it has always been like the norm.
Can I say something on that?
Like, if you watch Modern Family on Netflix, there was an episode that I cringed because I've got a daughter. One of this couple's daughter is dating some other guy, but the dad actually likes the ex-boyfriend, so he then encourages the ex-boyfriend to then come in, and my tips, no, she actually likes this and this and this and whatever. And then when they then get back together, they then decide to live in. And guess where they're living in?
At their house.
In the parents' house.
Yeah.
Yes. The girl's parents' house. You seeing your whatever, your daughter's boyfriend coming down the stairs in the morning. It's breakfast ready.
Can I say something on that?
I cringe because I'm like, what?
Do you know, Kuti? There's a thing I watched, interview, that Putin guy. I mean, if you ever watch some of his interviews, he's got very interesting.
Who?
Putin.
The president.
Putin.
If you find interviews where
the Russian president,
they're translated. He's got very interesting points of view. But
dear Chuck Norris, when you guys
there's one interview where I watched where he was like, "Look, how do you guard against bad ideas?"
Against bad ideas?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was like, look, we're in a time where there's like warfare happening, and sometimes it's about bad ideas. You know how Russia and America have this thing that they're going between, and he was like, look, if something is good for you as your country, that's your country. Don't try and then impose it on everyone else. That's your culture. That's your society. Don't then try and say, oh,
everyone must do the same thing.
Everyone must do.
Who made you prefect?
I'm a firm believer in that. I put in there.
And
however, we already do not want our culture.
I disagree.
Taisa aside. So both taisa aside, we might as well take it as it is.
But do you know,
for example,
do you know problem?
The Lobola thing. Yeah.
No, you can go ahead.
The Lobola thing is our culture, and it's brilliant, and it's because it unites two families, and
you value
it's one of those honorable things. I love that culture, but isati yapera usatapedza kubhadhara uchavhunzwa futi saka uchaita white wedding. What's that got to do with?
No, I feel that's more
takumixa manje.
Yeah, you see,
I think that's more recent.
Now, in terms of I'm hearing you guys. I'm hearing you guys in terms of the culture thing, but one thing you must always understand is that culture yemadzitateguru yedu
West
yemadzitateguru yedu payanga iri zvayanga iri at that time kana kuti let's just say nguva dzanana mbuya nehanda yaichinjawo to modern times.
Yes.
Culture is dynamic. That's what it is. So you adopt things that you think will work for your culture and reject some things that don't work. So certain things that we accept and we reject. We need to now then, who the prefect of those things are is now another thing. But
I feel like if we go back to culture yedu chai as Africans, do you know one thing that I actually disagree a lot on with this Christian culture is we tend to ignore facts.
Whoa,
yes.
No, we tend to ignore facts.
I'm with you, Costa.
Act like things don't exist. Do you know when you go back to I remember reading some of those shonen novels for literature and what, and these guys accounted for men having, desires to have more than one chick.
Yes, it was normal.
Which I'm so much for.
Yeah, well, that's
another episode.
Now but it's men just craving
but if you go.
Whoa, Tavi, what did you?
Now, Magwatima small house, it's men just craving for Bariga. Why do you think people then claim ownership of that small house? Boyfriend, internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
actually,
another
that's
story.
another episode. Actually.
But anyway, I was going to say that our culture, like at its core, this whole modern. Of course, there's some things that need to be, adjusted or appended. But generally, it was not ignorant of some things. Do you know even, I think you mentioned it at some point, but I remember doing a show, even sex toys existed back in our culture, back in the day.
Yes.
Yes. All of those things are accounted for. But if you look at Christian culture, sex toys might even be considered as, I'm not even sure the position of
evil.
The church on sex toys. They can be considered as evil. But, because think about this. Sex
we only support missionary.
What would Jesus do?
Whoa.
But if you think about this, Kuti, sex toys, it's about stimulation. And it. And we're stimulating the mind through an organ. You can do the same with food. How come some food is not evil? How come watching you can watch a Marvel film, feel stimulated to act like a super
podcast.
How come
sex toys?
This
is deep and well.
This is well researched. Huh?
I'm just saying.
You just saying.
I'm just saying. As a registered husband.
I know you're not just saying. You're a pro.
No, but you know what? The problem, Nick, Christian culture is we ignore facts. We ignore things.
Yeah, I agree.
And the problem is you leave it up to human nature to say, no, you're not strong enough, or you're not Christian enough, or you don't love God enough if you have these desires. But this is human nature. If we acknowledge that it's human nature, we can create systems where people can live in a safe way. Because then, if we leave people to do Vega, we have now to consider issues of rape and abuse.
Because they're trying not to get caught.
That's why those parents let their daughter bring in the boyfriend to start living in.
But
I don't know about that.
There's now different levels to that issue because some of it
it's a safe environment.
It's not safe. I don't think it's safe.
It depends on how you grow. This is how you see. If that's the weirdest thing on the planet, actually. Most people, when I was growing up, the people, don't start looking into my history as to when I grew up and whatnot, but the people who were the freakiest and nastiest people were the church people. I'm just being for real.
Obvious.
Just saying.
I'm just
holier
saying.
than thou equals hornier than thou.
Come on,
that should be a title for an episode.
That's a classic. Holier than Yo, hey. Shout out to all my Christian friends. but listen, you're repressed. Don't be repressed. Do you know what happens now when you're in a state of repressing? What is the topic for today anyway? It's talking about repressing,
living in,
and if you don't do that, you become a weird, wild person going out there, conquering every woman on the planet, or the other way around, because
Calipha's travels.
Exactly, because you haven't experienced it in a normal way, in a normal fashion. Then you overcompensate.
I agree.
Now that you've got the mkana, that's why if you let people just a little bit of rope, they'll discover that they like it, but it's not a big deal. When you make it a big deal, it becomes something to conquer. It becomes something. Not just why.
Yeah.
Why can't I cross?
I've got a cousin of mine. I actually asked him, "What's up with you, new generation, and the way you don't respect sex the way we used to?"
Yeah.
And she says, Ranzi, why should I wait until marriage for me to discover that this guy is not good in bed? And in Nina, I love sex like every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd rather, even before dating, we start doing it. Then I decide, this person actually got a great character. And since a woman saying this, person got a great character, I think we can actually get along.
Wow.
That's that you want to find out that he's small, or he can't do this, or he can't do that. 2 years later, that's right, people. So we'll talk on Facebook or Twitter or on Tinder.
Is that why people are sending so many DPs?
We shag a couple of times. Then later on, we decide, should we date? Then we date.
Look, to some extent, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but
like what Costa was saying, we need to accept that reality. Then find ways, mind you, of
dealing with it,
molding into a more safer environment. Maybe.
Do you know the funny thing is, if we find a Sekuru somewhere who knows, proper culture, Yedu, and go back, you would probably find some gems, if not solutions.
At the end of the day, the main thing is that it depends on how you're raised and what your moral compass is like, whether you can live in with someone or not.
In conclusion, try the shoes before you buy them.
Your value system.
And try the sneakers before you buy
them. I disagree though, but
that's the thing, because you grew up in a certain way. Same here, it was weird, but I got compliments afterwards. Like, it's a good thing you lived with this person. I know what I charge of Marini, but
Yeah, and this is the other thing. Do you know, sometimes we fear going against the rules. I think you have to count the cost.
Yeah.
Living by the books, 100% sometimes may not always be the best. Sometimes it's okay to pay the cover charge.
Yeah, but by the way, just as another thing about the living in thing, though we're talking about it in probably more of a kuirirana kind of context, or maybe sexual context or whatever. Pane, there's some really bad situations that happen when someone starts living with someone when they don't know them, where the spousal abuse starts. You will know when you're living with someone, whether or not they're abusive beforehand. You will know.
Yes.
My signs are no. My signs are no.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can only fake for so long.
You can only fake for so long.
But
Once
you know what's funny, Ash?
Why you live with
Ash,
someone?
of all my friends that lived in with their girlfriends, you are the only one who actually has got a successful marriage.
You think why? Why do you think that though?
Why?
Your own opinion.
I can speak as an expert.
Sorry?
I can speak as an expert here. Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
When as soon as you put that ring on it, the real life starts, and as soon as the word marriage comes into play, people change. Because that word forever comes into play. So even if you are this, I was told by one of my friends who was living in for about 6 years, but then they separated after 4 months of marriage.
What?
They were living in since college days.
Say again. Say it again so people understand.
Okay, they were living in since college days in the UK, right?
For 6 years.
Since college days, they were together. They continued after college. Then they decided to get married. They didn't last 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
They divorced. This is how he explained it to me. He said, even in living in Panegunye Perana. Why? Because you're afraid of losing this person. We're gonna remember a movie, Think Like a Man, Gabriel Union, the Gabriel Union character. They were living in, but she never could tell this guy to man up and be a real man, because she always she played the role of friend, buddy. And he loved that about it. We can smoke together, we can play video games together. But that's not what she wanted. She wanted to be a wife.
Yeah.
So he says, Ramsey, my friend then says, Ramsey, even silly things like mother's skid marks in the shanks
become big things.
She wouldn't tell him that she didn't like that. She would just clean it up.
Until
even him going out clubbing, coming home anytime, even him bringing lady friends over, and they would party together and have drinks, and nothing is happening.
That's wild.
She knows that these are just friends from college. She was okay with it because they're all in their 20s. We're all friends.
But
up until the day
can I
the
say
ring went to
something,
the
Ipapo? You know, when look, I worked in different places. This is my situation. I accept it, but you've made your decision inside, deep down, to say, look, I'll just have to, humble myself for the next year or 2 years. I remember I had a relationship where, with an acquaintance, where I had to suck it up for like 6-7 months, even though I knew in my mind I had already moved on.
Right.
But I was just waiting for a certain event to happen, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
And it could be the same thing where these people were together for.
It could be, and then that person proposes, and maybe that's the right thing to do, and
because also we're emotional beings, so maybe in your mind you've made up your mind, and then Vagarave says 6 years UK, maybe financially it was convenient, but the person made the decision. Good, look, this guy's a dick. I don't think I would. And then you propose, maybe that the stars aligned for that moment.
Yeah.
Everything was just magical. You were convinced. But then when you actually start to live with that person, you remember, no, this guy, I got it. Can I? 3 months
Yeah.
later, like,
I don't
look,
like him drinking a
let's
lot. I don't
even-
like him partying, bringing all his friends over, acting like we're still college kids.
Yeah. So it's like, look, you end up just deciding, look, I don't want to wait 5 to 10 years. And this is the other thing that our parents don't realize. We watch their relationships.
Yeah, that's where we learn.
You know, and
Yeah.
then
We learn.
in
Yeah.
your mind, you're
So,
calculating, Kuti, am I willing to wait 30 years?
Yeah.
To then
Yeah. Because our
begin
parents
to live
waited
my
30
life.
years, 40 years.
Yeah. Where you live 30 years,
Yeah, you're right.
you know. And then
You're
maybe
right.
they divorce later in their 60s, and then you're like, okay, and then
Yes.
you know.
You don't have the power anymore.
Yeah.
Remember, if you live in together, unogo badala damage.
Yeah, it's just damage.
Yeah.
Would you rather live a life
just
of
damage.
regret?